Welcome to The Localist, a podcast for small business owners where we talk about the highs and lows of building community through entrepreneurship. I'm your host, author of the Localist book, and small business consultant, Carrie Rollwagen. The Localist is sponsored by Infomedia, a Birmingham-based digital strategy company where I work as senior vice president. At Infomedia, we help small businesses get big results online. Our guest today is Cierra Lober from Cha House, which is a tea house in Avondale, kind of. They're definitely in Avondale, but they're only sort of a tea house. They do have an amazing tea selection. They have all kinds of teas. They take it really seriously. They will help you kind of navigate the process of choosing a tea. They will brew the tea for you, kind of really work through that. So they have great tea. But the shop really exists to build community. And this is an interesting episode because Cierra looks at her business in some ways not even as a business. Like, she's not looking at profit as the major motivation for the business. The why to her business is to have a community, to create kind of that third space environment. And she uses the business and she uses tea to do that, which I think is really interesting because whether or not you are going into business because you're trying to build community like she is, or because you're trying to share a product that you love. Like when I ran a bookstore, that was a lot of the motivation for me because I wanted to share books with people. Or if you are just strictly running a for-profit business, there is a lot to learn from somebody who's kind of looking at their business from another angle. So we talk about that. We talk about running events. We talk about what it's like to work in a shop that prioritizes community, how to build staff. We really go all over the place with this, and I think it is a really fun conversation. There were also some fun parallels to me, like from Cha House, the tea shop that she runs, and Church Street Coffee and Books, which is the bookstore coffee shop that I used to run. So I enjoyed this episode a lot, and I hope you do too. Well, welcome to the podcast. First, I kind of wanted to talk about, and this kind of gets to, I guess, everything you're doing, but creating a community, because it seems like that's just as important to you maybe as like the business side. I think one of your Google reviews, somebody said like this is like the literal definition of a third place. And I think people listening may know, but the third place is the idea that you have like work, home, and then a third place where you also feel really comfortable and you have community. So I know this is kind of a big question, but can you kind of speak to if you've done that intentionally and how you've gone about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is the main goal. That was the only goal, and then it just kind of seemed like the best way in our capitalist society to make that goal a reality was to do it as a business. But yeah, the goal was to create a community space, to create a community center. I didn't know what exactly that was going to look like, but like I'm trying to think of time frame, like I don't know, after like 2015 to 2018, I guess, I was like, I want to start some kind of community center. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's when it kind of started. And the reason was because my whole life in every like friend group, like high school, college, after college, every different friend group, I've been told like, when you leave, it's like we all fall apart. You're like the glue holding us together. You're really good at bringing people together that don't normally come together, and like helping people connect that think they have nothing in common. Like that's just kind of a natural skill I have. So I was like, how do I turn that into what I do with my life? Like, That's what I'm good at. So I want to figure out how to make that the thing I'm doing. So then I was living in a van, traveling around the country, and I was in Oakland in the Bay Area in California for about a month. And my friend there had been working in tea houses for like 10 years. And they started taking me to tea houses. They were like, tea does all these things that you're trying to do with your space. Like it brings people together. It helps people slow down. It helps you be more present in the moment and like connect with people. Or it can when it's done in this kind of way. So they took me to all these spots and I was like, wow, this is the thing. Like this is the vibe that I want to feel like. I want this like cozy, relaxing space where you're sitting around a table, sharing drinks together. And, you know, food does that as well. Like it brings people together in that way. So, that's when I started getting into tea. That was 2018. And I just started studying tea with that friend kind of on Zoom, like through 2020. We were just doing like tea sessions, having tea together on Zoom. And I was reading a lot of books on my own and just learning a lot, tasting a lot of tea. That's like an easy way to learn, is just to do it, drink a lot of tea. And then I started working with a tea teacher in Chicago. They have a company called Being Tea, which is amazing and I highly recommend. And their whole thing is about like tea as a meditation, tea as a way to create presence and community with other people as well. So it's been the perfect teacher for me, I think, in this way. But also learning a lot about, like, what is tea? Where does it come from? The history of tea, the different types of tea, how to brew tea, how to steep it, like all sorts of stuff. So I'm getting like this combo of tea knowledge and how to use tea as a connector. Since then, I guess that was like 2022 maybe when I started working with them. So then I was like doing pop-ups all around Birmingham and trying to figure out how do I pop up a community center that it felt really impossible at first. I was like, you have to have a building to have a community center. Like, I don't know how you create a third space without a space. But I feel like I did a good job. Like, we figured it out, and I was just doing pop-ups for like 5 years that were tea and. So we were doing tea and yoga, tea and dance, tea and hiking, tea and meditation, tea and painting, like all sorts of stuff. So I just created like collaborative events with other people in Birmingham, and I brought the tea, and then we would create an experience, and it felt like a pop-up community space, or a community event, I guess would be a better way to say it. But then I was really lucky and kind of fell into a brick and mortar, honestly, and then I happened to be ready and had like the financial ability to make it work. So it's been almost a year in the brick and mortar and making it work as an actual business. And it's that was really hard for me because I felt kind of opposed to making money in a way. I was like, this feels evil to like make money off of people when I'm trying to create community for people. And so many, like everyone in my life was just like, no, you have to eat. It's okay. Like, you're allowed to make money and you're allowed to like pay your bills and you're allowed to, like, people are used to paying for things. We live in America. Like, everyone pays for everything all the time. So it's okay. And I have a lot of yoga teacher friends and they've struggled with similar feelings of like, yeah, it feels wrong sometimes to charge for yoga, but it's like, this is a skill and a thing I'm offering to people and I have to make money and eat also. So it's been helpful in a learning curve, and now we're doing great. And it's running as a business and also is definitely a community space. I don't know if that answered your question. That was more about like the history,
great,
but the way that I have created community is also with the community. I mean, the community has created it themselves. I've just kind of provided a framework for it to happen. And I've just like, you build it and they come kind of thing. I've built it. I've facilitated it. I like encourage people to try a thing they want to try. Like, there's a lot of people that come in and they're like intrigued and they're like, oh, I have this weird idea of a thing that I thought people might like, but I'm not sure. And like, you're making me feel safe to try it. And then they host a workshop or they do a class or they just like have a group activity and people come and enjoy it and they connect and they're like, wow, thank you for creating this atmosphere where I felt safe to like try my weird thing or like, do my weird art and let other people do it with me. That kind of thing. So
like anecdotally, I was talking to a barista somewhere else and he was saying that he was about to start a zine, and I was like, where are you going to distribute? And they were like, I don't know. And I said, well, I think you should maybe go by Cha House because it seems like you have a lot of...
There's a lot of zines there, yeah.
A lot of zines. Like I think there's a zine vending machine. Yeah. You have a lot of art, like different things. It does feel like a market almost. Like it feels like very like handcrafted and not like... It doesn't feel like you just kind of went to like I think a lot of shops will go to like market, quote unquote, or they go to like Atlanta and there's a market with a lot of kind of sideline items and they're like figuring something out, which is a different thing and also fine. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it is kind of a community coming together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a thrift shop version of a coffee shop in a way, which I love. Like, I don't say that to be insulting at all. But it also was out of necessity. It's like I didn't have $1 million to put into a build out of a building.
Yeah.
But I had a couch and I happened to be moving out of my apartment, so I just put my couch in there.
Yeah.
And then like I had all these cushions from when I lived in the van. I just put them in there. Like, a lot of it's just my stuff that I just put in there. And then we get so many donations randomly. Like, we have these huge Squishmallows that just appeared one day and they're really clean and brand new. And we were like, cool. I don't know where they came from. If you brought it, thank you. So there's like, people just bring stuff in and it's very collaborative, like the decorations even. I mean, it is curated in a way. It's like, it is me and my aesthetic, but it's also, even with the live music we have every week, I'm like, it doesn't matter if I like the music or not. It's not about me. It's about the community. So same thing with the aesthetic. It is curated by me, and I definitely, there's some things where I'm like, I don't like that or I don't want it here. But mostly it's like, oh, if people brought it in, then they like it and they want it here, so cool. We'll like make a space for it.
Yeah.
And then the furniture too, like some of it's from the thrift store and some of it my parents bought for me, and it's just been a very collaborative. The the whole thing. It's a community center, and it really feels like that. And the art is all like local artists for sale. So all of the art on the walls is for sale. It's all done by local artists, and I'm just trying to give them space to showcase. And then it's also a good business model because I'm getting a commission on those sales. And then the art it is like a market, like an art market too, because we have shelves of local goods for sale. So there's like local ceramics and local handmade notebooks and soaps and all sorts of stuff that's just like on the shelves all the time.
Yeah.
And same thing. It's just local artists reach out to me and say they want a place to showcase their stuff. So we're trying to provide that. And that felt like, yeah, how do I make it a community center? My thought was like, I showcase people's art. I let people sell their things and give them a space. And also with events, we have events like 7 days a week almost. And again, like I said before, it's just like I want people to have a space to do their weird thing. Yeah. And especially if it's a community building activity of some sort, or like, does this activity help people come together? Does it help people be present? That's kind of the guidelines. I mean, but I'm very much not restrictive in any way. I'm like, do you have a thing you want to do? As long as it's family friendly, which is open to interpretation. That's kind of my only rule. I'm like, I want this to be an inclusive space, so I don't want anything that feels divisive. So we do have like political meetups and book clubs and things, but they're not like sponsored by Cha House. And so I've told my staff too, I'm like, I don't want us to be like, the whole point is bringing people together that wouldn't normally come together. So I don't want it to feel isolating to any one group in any way on either side. And then with the family friendly thing too, like we had a pole dance exhibition there, but it was like clothed and family friendly, and it was also after hours, so we weren't open to the public. But my friends were like, "What? You're so silly! Like you're doing a family friendly pole dance." So I was like, "Yes, it's working." So yeah, we have anything. Like I haven't said no. I don't think I've said no to any ideas that people have had. But
yeah, well, I love like even some of the specifics you're talking about, like even saying things like, because it's not like a rule set, but it's kind of like guidelines, or which I like what you said as far as, like family friendly, inclusive, and that it is like bringing the community together. So that kind of gives you some idea, even if you're looking at it, of like what makes sense for this. And I like the idea that some maybe are sponsored by Cha House and some are not. So it's like, again, we're providing a space. We're not putting our stamp of approval on everything that happens, which if you are going to really be a community space, you can't really do.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I don't know, the dichotomy that is all human beings, I think, but like, I feel like I can tend to be kind of controlling. Like I'm a Capricorn. I'm very like organized and structured in some ways. And then I'm also creative and like very open-minded and welcoming. So it's like, I think those things I can hold both of those with one hand, but sometimes they get in the way of each other in a way, I guess. But I have a really amazing team around me, and I have really good friends, and I have people that kind of, I don't know, help me see myself, shine a mirror and tell me when I'm being too one way or the other, I guess. But yeah, I feel like it's just open. I'm just like, I want people to do their thing. And then sometimes I'm like, does this fit, or does it feel bad, or does it feel like restrictive? But I haven't really had that experience yet. I think if you kind of create a vibe, then people are going to come to that have the same kind of vibe. How to use
I think it does. I mean, like you said, when you walk in, you can feel that it is cultivated. Like it's not, like you said, you have a lot of things that are brought in from different places, but it doesn't feel like it's an accident, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I think even the thing about finding things at a thrift store and using your own stuff, like I think you guys do it a little, like possibly more, but I think so many small businesses do that. I mean, I didn't have any money when we opened our store, like, and it's just like, oh well, I have this thing, or I know a friend who does paintings or whatever, and there is so much of that. But that's one of the things I think that when you open a small business, you're always like, am I doing this right? Am I supposed to buy all of this stuff new? Am I allowed to use this? I think you just maybe either just opened your patio or just redid it, and I was kind of eavesdropping accidentally. Like I was working out there and I think you were talking to somebody about like your dad doing some work, and I feel like that's such a common experience for small business of like everybody, like my family would come and decorate the shop for Christmas every year. Like that was our Thanksgiving thing. Like people from your family, people from your friend group, like pitching in to create that.
Which is also like, kind of beautiful because it's also the purpose of Chalice is like creating community. So why wouldn't I be using the community? I also feel like I have my friends recently just at a party were like, what's your superpower? And they're going around, they were like, Sierra's superpower is asking for help, and it's delegating. And I'm just like, it is a skill that not everyone has. So
it's true, yeah.
I am very good at delegating, and I hope people will tell me no when they want to say no, and that's up to them. But it's like, I will ask for help. So that's been the reason that Chalice has been successful and exists at all, is because I've asked a million people to help me with things, and they do, and they step up, and like, it's absolutely a community. I've had like plumbing issues where I literally just stepped out of the kitchen, was like, is anyone in here a plumber? My kitchen's exploding. And like a random stranger got up and helped me and was like, yeah, I happen to be a plumber. And there was like an electrician that was just drinking tea and helped me like rewire some electricity stuff on the building one time. And I'm just like, does anyone want to put together this IKEA furniture? I can't do it. And but people do it. Like everybody, I just feel like there's like hundreds of people that have contributed in some small way or large way to Chalice already, and it's pretty new, but it's like it exists because of so many people. And yes, I am like guiding the ship in a certain direction, but it's being built by everyone in the community. And and like, I'm glad you said that it doesn't feel like you didn't say exactly chaotic or like disorganized, but I think that's what you were trying to get out of like the aesthetic in there feels intentional and maybe not curated, but it feels like it flows together, I think. And I think that's just because of me, because I'm like going around and slightly adjusting things or like moving things around with like the interior design or the decorations or whatever. But it's like a jumbled up mix of a bunch of people's stuff, but then I'm like kind of curating that in a way. Yeah. And I'm just using what is given by the community. Yeah. So it's great.
The IKEA furniture reminded me, this isn't exactly the same thing, but I had the craft room on, and she was talking about how they had bead events, like they're beading jewelry and things. And she said, like maybe half the people were just sorting beads, and like that was the fun part for them. And she was like, this is something I thought our staff had to do, but now they have bead sorting events where it's just like people just like sit around and talk and sort beads. So yeah, like I'm like, maybe it needs, it's like people like to put furniture together.
That's the beauty of delegating too, is that if you hate doing something, someone might really love it. And, I mean, I clean the bathrooms every day as well, but it's like someone might rather do that than talk to a person or like serve them tea because they don't want to interact with people like that. So you just have to ask and hopefully they'll say no if they don't want to do it. But it's like, well,
and I think it's definitely a balance, but I think that we forget that sometimes I'm going to not phrase this right, but I feel like sometimes it's actually a service to ask somebody for help. And I do think it's important to like phrase it so someone can say no generally, but there I think that we're so like disconnected just as people now in particular that like actually inviting it's a way to invite somebody in, and it doesn't mean take advantage of everybody, but actually saying like, I could use help with this, that somebody could help with, it allows them a chance to connect, I guess.
And it's a way to create community. And I think, too, it's like it creates ownership over a space. So Chalice feels like it belongs to them, too, not in like a weird ownership way, but it's just like, this is mine, too. This is my space. Like, I think that's what a third space is as well, is like, I feel like that's kind of what really creates a third space, is that people have had their hand in it. Like everyone in the community has done something to contribute to it or support it in some way. And that's really difficult with a business most of the time. Like you go there and you buy things, and that does keep the lights on. It does support them. Like money is a valuable contribution for sure, but it's not the only one, and it's not even the most important one in my opinion. And like I said, like if I hadn't had all these people helping, then we wouldn't exist. And I think that they can come in now and like look around and be like, oh, I helped plant that pot over there, or I helped build that furniture, or like I painted that on the wall. And like I just think it feels more like their home. Like you said, like they can go in there and feel like it's their living room outside of their living room. And that's part of it, is because I've asked them for help probably at some point, and they've stepped up and helped, or they've said no, and that's also beautiful, because I respect a no. There was something else I was going to say, but now I can't remember. We'll come back.
Well, it's also, I feel like that's a sign that you've created a good space too. Like, and it is fun. So when I had Church Street, she was in high school at that point, but a customer who kept like trying to help by jumping behind the counter, and I kept saying, which I'm going to call her out if she's listening, but I kept being like, Chambly, like, you don't have your food handler's permit. You can't put behind the counter.
Yeah.
And
I've had to say that a lot.
Yeah, she's just like, we were busy, whatever. And then one day I came down from upstairs and I was like, Chambly, because she was behind the counter, and she goes, I got my food handler's permit. Like, she went and took the test just so she could randomly jump behind the counter.
That's amazing.
I know, and I was like, it is stuff like that feels really cool, and that you're like, okay, this is not just like, I'm selling someone caffeine, you know?
Yeah, I was like really struggling and burnout for a while because we've been open 7 days a week since we opened in July of last year, which is kind of crazy to some people, and I get it, but I was working 7 days a week behind the counter and also doing every other aspect of the business. You know, I'm like doing all the marketing, I'm the accountant, I'm the everything. So I was just like overwhelmed, and but I was kind of in it. I was like, object in motion stays in motion. I was making it work. But then I had 4 different people come to me and say they wanted to work for me for free. They were like, I would like to volunteer and work here because you need a day off. And like, please just let me work here for free. And that was just so incredible. I mean, I'm going to cry right now thinking about it again, but it like saved my life. And it was just like, and it also was like a beautiful reminder of like, you've created something beautiful because people want to be a part of it so badly that they want to just work for you for free because they want to be a part of it. Yeah. And that was amazing. So that like saved me. And now I have 5 paid employees and it's incredible. And we've like moved up. But I still have someone that's still volunteering like 2 hours a week. And just because she said it's like her favorite day of her week, and it's like the favorite part of her week, and she wants to keep doing it. So that's just incredible and moving, and like, wow. I think that it is a beautiful space that people want to help out so much. And we also have a child who comes in with her dad all the time, and she really wants to work for us. And we keep being like, there's child labor laws in Alabama, you can't. And then she came one day and she was like, I looked it up and I figured out when I can start working for you. And like, I have a year and 13 months and then I can start working here. And I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. So that was really funny, but also sweet. I'm like, okay, wow, even like the kids are wanting to get behind the counter, but we're like, here, we'll figure out a little job for you to do elsewhere that's like something fun. But I don't know, I just think that helped me sustain and survive. And I think it's kind of similar to your story with Chambly of like, people just want to help, and not only because you're busy and they can see you're overwhelmed, but because they're like, we want this thing to survive, we want this business to survive because it's a beautiful space that people want to be at and they don't want to see it disappear like a lot of our small businesses have in Birmingham. Yeah, definitely. So can you talk about when you did start having paid staff, kind of, because I think you and I talked a little bit about specifically like events and maybe marketing. How was that? Was that pass off difficult? Because it is like, I've been in that situation too, where it's like, you have to hold on you're creating this, you kind of have to do it for a while. Yeah. And then you're kind of passing this off, and like, where is the balance between these are the things that are important that they need to stay the same, and then this is like, you can't, if you tell everybody every single thing to do, you're just micromanaging them and taking the joy out of it. Yeah. And then it's really not what you intended either. And it's not really helpful for you. It's kind of creating more work for you if you're just micromanaging. Which there's definitely like a training and a learning curve, and I don't know that I have done an excellent job with training, but I did spend a lot of time writing a handbook for my employees years ago before I ever had a brick and mortar. Yeah. I like spent so many hours just like writing this beautiful handbook. I was like, it's a work of art. Yeah. But that was for my future. Like, I was just like, this is for my future employees that don't exist yet. Yeah. But I know that that's where I want to go, and I want to be prepared. And I know that right now I have the time and capacity to do this well. And when I'm like in the weeds in it, I'm not going to have time. Like, I'm not going to be able to write as well of a handbook or like explain the vision when I'm like in the day-to-day working all the time. And I don't know how I had that foresight, but I'm really grateful that I did. I feel like that was very wise. So I'm glad I did that. But the handbook is like 5 pages of like weird esoteric knowledge about holding space for people and like creating a container of time and creating a peaceful experience for someone and slowing down, all that kind of stuff. And then it's like 4 pages of tea knowledge, but it's just funny because people read it and they're just like, wow, this is like a hilarious hippie handbook about love. And I'm just like, we're creating a community. So, but again, like the baseline, the foundation is community center. The tea is a method to bring people together. It's not the main, like, I'm obsessed with tea now. I'm very into it. I've been studying it for years. I love it. It is very important. It's definitely like the second ingredient, but the real reason for the tea at all is to bring people together and create community. So that's like the baseline of the business, which is very interesting when you're training basically kind of a barista. It's like a tea server, and someone coming in is like, I thought I was just going to serve tea. I didn't know I had to learn all this stuff. But I've had just amazing, I've had the right people. I have really good people that understand that, and it kind of, too, is a way to weed people out. I'm like, if they read this and they're just like, this is ridiculous, then they're not meant to be here. So, but I also need to like reread it myself more often and get back to it, because I have been like in the weeds, and I know I'm not always, doing a perfect example of being super present and peaceful and calm. And that's like, it's amazing because my staff knows that as well, and we all help each other, and we can like bring each other back to it when we're there together. So that's been amazing to see.
Well, and I think beginning like that actually does make a lot of sense, because like you said, it's the core of who you are. Like I think we were talking before about the Instagram bio describing Cha House, and it doesn't say it's a tea shop. It says it's a community hub centered around a tea house. So I feel like all of those things, like that's what you're trying to create. It does make sense to kind of start with that. And it also gives people something to connect to at work that isn't just like just doing labor, That's like, this is the why behind it. And I think especially for staff, like just coming out and saying this is the why behind it is actually like pretty helpful. And I was going back, I worked for Starbucks like a million years ago, and at that point, I mean, it was still very corporate, but not like it is now. And I remember our manager would always be like, it's just coffee. Like, this isn't the point. Like, we'd mess something up, and he's just like, it's just coffee. Which I don't feel like is probably the sentiment now. But I do, like, I think that was important. And I think that's kind of like what you're living out in like a obviously like a different way.
I have a section in the handbook of like, we're all going to make mistakes all the time. Please be compassionate with yourself. Have grace with yourself. Like, it's okay. I'm making mistakes too. And like, especially, we have all these really nice teapots and these really nice vintage teacups. Like some of my great-grandmother's teacups are in there. And some people get very precious about it. And that's cute. And I like that. But that's not how I feel. I'm just like, things break. It's just an object. Like, it's okay. I would rather you love yourself through the breaking than like be upset about it. It's okay. So I always tell people, like, I'm like, I break more dishes than anybody. Like, it's fine. It's, don't be intentionally throwing things around, but like, be careful with it. But it's okay. Don't like beat yourself up over it if you make a mistake, or if you break a dish, or if you like brew the tea wrong. Like, I want us to try our best, and we want to give people a really good and consistent experience with it. So I have like very detailed directions on how to do everything, but it's okay. Like, we're going to mess up, and that's part of it. So I feel like it felt more important to me in training of like, I want to make sure people have, I guess, resiliency in a way, and like self-love to be able to get through this. Cause I'm like, I don't know if I could hire a teenager, because I feel like they're going to like, I don't know, maybe this is prejudice against teenagers. Sorry guys. But just like thinking back to how I used to be, it's like, I wouldn't have as easily been able to like flow through a mistake. And then that attitude would like be portrayed to the public, which is kind of opposing this community idea of creating space for people and bringing people in, if that makes sense. Of like, if I'm like upset with myself because I just messed up your tea, and I'm like so overly apologetic, or like freaking out or beating myself up over it, is that creating a peaceful atmosphere that you want to stay in as a customer? No, and that's more of the point than like you having a good tea, which you're going to have a good tea. They're all amazing.
Well, I do think what you're doing, it like, I've seen this in my work too, is that if you can be compassionate with staff, and obviously there's a line of, we have, if you're making, like you said, if you're throwing dishes around, if you're not trying, that's a different thing. But making a mistake every so often, if you're like, okay, we're all human, I get it, then that person generally is not going to turn around and point the finger at somebody else. Like, I think a lot of times when you see a staff where people are throwing each other under the bus, or a lot of times that comes because people are afraid that they're going to be in trouble because of a small mistake. So they're immediately going to turn and be like, well, who can I blame?
I don't think fear is a good teaching tool.
Personally. So I think that for like creating a staff that meshes, and also that meshes with community, I do think there's a direct line of like how you deal with small mistakes is also how your staff is going to deal with either a mistake for somebody else in staff, or a customer being rude, because part of community is that some people in the community are not nice. So in the community, Avondale is a unique community. There are some really cool things about being in Avondale, and then there are just some things that you may deal with in Avondale that may not be the same as, like, my shop was in Mountain Brook. It's a different community altogether. How is that? Like, has that been like a challenge? Has that been great? Has it been both?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think about how to say it in the nicest way to all of my neighbors. Yeah, I think it's fine. Sorry. I'm trying to decide what I'm saying. No, I want to talk about it, but I'm trying to decide what not to say. So we have, I guess to start with, my building is owned by Beloved Community Church, which is the building right next door to me. And they're an incredible church, an incredible organization. The landlord's amazing, and they've been very supportive, and they wanted a community space there, and they didn't want alcohol. And I was like, you want me? Like, this is literally like what they were describing. I'm like, you're describing my business. So like, so they, like, I was able to negotiate the rent down. They've been like very flexible working with me. It's the only reason that I'm able to have a brick and mortar. I couldn't afford anything anywhere else. And they've been so supportive and incredible and like flexible, letting me fix things, letting me build this huge fence in the back to create a patio. And so, yeah, they've been incredible. So I feel like that's a little bit different than some of the businesses there, you know, who are, I don't know who owns all these buildings or like what they're paying, but I'm sure it's more expensive than mine. And then there's a breakfast ministry for the houseless community in my parking lot that's run by, it's not by that church that owns it. It's, I think it's 4 different Episcopal congregations in Birmingham, and they run this ministry together. They serve breakfast to homeless people every weekday in our lot. So, and that was part of like my lease agreement, was that this could continue happening. And I was like, yeah, I'm for it. Like, I want this to happen. I think this is a beautiful thing. And some feedback in general in the conversation in the world online, mostly about like third spaces, is a critique of third spaces is like, oh, you want third spaces but not with homeless people, and like you don't want to welcome everyone into your third space, but you want to have a welcoming space. So that's been a thing I've thought about a lot before I ever started. I also apprenticed at a tea house in Oakland. So Oakland, I don't know if you know anything about Oakland, California, but there's way more homeless people there than there are in Birmingham even, and there's a lot of poverty. And also it's like the tea house I was at is actually in Berkeley, so Berkeley's like very rich, and it's just a diverse area, and the tea house I was in has like a lot of both. So it's kind of similar to Avondale in that way. There's like, you know, a lot of rich people are coming through to Avondale Brewery to go to shows and things like that. Like we had Porsches parking in our parking lot the other day for Willie Nelson, but then we have like homeless people there every day. So, you know, you get the extremes of both sides of like that financial range. So I had it like written into my plan. Like, I want to be able to offer things to people that are free or low income in general. So like our tea menu, we have teas ranging from $3 to $30 on the menu. So it's kind of, we want it to be diverse. Again, like we said, like I want it to be an inclusive space for everyone. That includes financially. I was putting out free water outside for a while. It's been problematic so far. So we're trying to figure it out how to do it well. But there's like free breakfast in the parking lot every day. We want that to continue happening. Now we're working to build a community garden on the side. And one of my volunteers actually offered to build some garden beds this week and plant some like tomatoes and herbs and things outside of our fence. So I was like, that's great, because there's like the breakfast ministry here, and they could use that if they want to. So he's working with them now, and they're like working with the church and with me to like draft plans for it. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with this, but we haven't had issues, I think, because in the same way that we were talking about people taking ownership of the space inside and like, oh, I helped build this, so this is my living room too. Mostly that's a good thing. And the same thing with like the houseless neighbors. So the breakfast ministry people just call them the neighbors. So the neighbors, like that group of people that's leading that breakfast, encourages them to take pride and ownership of that space. So like in my parking lot, they're like, this is your space. This is your breakfast space. So like, take pride in it, pick up the trash, don't litter here, like don't create a mess here, don't destroy things here, because this is your space, so you should take pride in it. And they've been telling them that and teaching them that every day for however long they've been doing this, which I don't know how long, but I think it's years, as long as I've been there. And I think that that's working. Like, I haven't had issues with people. Like, we had a tiny bit of graffiti on a mural in the back, but I haven't had any other vandalism of any kind. Like, we've had like 2 incidents with like some, not even really violence, but just like semi-violence, aggressive behavior. But from things I've heard from other businesses on the block, it could be a lot worse. And there's been a lot more issues happening with other businesses. And I don't know if that's because of that or not, but I do think that when you encourage people to like take pride in a space, that's they're going to do it mostly. Like, people live up to your expectations most of the time. You know,
Yeah.
there's mental illness is a different thing, and there's a lot of that, and that's separate. But I think in general, if you treat people like human beings and like have expectations of care and respect, that they can live up to that.
Well, I also think what you're talking about, you're kind of like, well, here's a way that we tried to do something, and then that didn't exactly work, so we're going to iterate on it and try something different.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so I do think that, I think that makes sense, like, just the commitment to, like, we're going to try to find a way to welcome people, and it may not be the first way that we try. And it also doesn't mean that we're giving everyone $30 tea.
Yeah.
But that I do think it's hard for a lot of people to kind of not go to the extreme.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the instinct is either we let everybody, and that can also just be a customer or who's a housed customer who comes in and is asking for something. You know, it could be they have a zine that isn't that isn't inclusive and that you don't have, you know, it could be so many things. So I think it is it's harder, I think, to actually walk the line of like, we're going to keep trying until we find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Because I think that is what a lot of people go to, is just like, we won't allow anything because the first thing we tried didn't work, or this is hard, you know.
And it's not at all that I've been doing it perfectly. And I'm so grateful for that ministry that had already existed there, because I mean, that's like, I don't know, easy or lazy on my part, because I don't have to do it. Like, they're already doing it and they're doing an amazing job, and I'm grateful for them, and I am glad that's happening, and I want it to keep happening. But, you know, I'm not having to put in the labor for that. So that's really great of them. And like, again, it's a community space, and it's like, I can't take in all the homeless people inside. I can't like let them come in and sleep there. I can't feed them. I can't do all those things, which is heartbreaking to me sometimes. And then I also have to be like, I am trying to run a business, and I am trying to create this space, and I can't let it like be destroyed by anyone, including house people. Yeah, we have had a couple incidences. The majority, the like bigger instances we've had have been with housed people like doing things or being inappropriate, and we've had to have talks about that. So that's like more of a concern to me than the houseless people. And again, I do think it's like there's definitely extremes, and like I said, with mental illness, it's a different story. But I think that in general, it's like, if you're just being kind to people and treating them like humans, then most of the time they can respond to that and like meet you there in some way, even if it's small.
Yeah, which makes sense in any kind of community service, and also any, like, most service kind of business, you know, because it just, no matter where you are dealing with people, you know.
And we had a lot of kids. Like, our main issue in Avondale, just talking about the neighborhood, was like, there's like this street gang of kids on bikes that are always riding around, and they were coming in like every single day and like getting water, and they were, some of them were so sweet and some of them were so disruptive, and we were just like, okay. But then I was like, y'all, this is a liability. I can't have all these underage children in here with no parents like every day. This is not okay. So I've told them, like, I'm sorry, y'all can't come in without your parents anymore. And it was like so sad. I mean, some of them were very heartbroken, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I can't take in kids off the street and just like give y'all a place to hang out all day, because I am not running a daycare. I don't even know what the laws are about that. I can't have like, this feels like a liability. So that was sad, but that's been like the biggest issue that's like daily occurring.
It's funny. I just keep thinking of parallels that are not exactly parallels, but in Mount Brook at Church Street, our big thing is the huge group of children coming from ballroom dancing. So it's a
wow, that's so
it's
funny.
a different
but still, it's like, if it's a bunch of underage unaccompanied minors in your space, it can be weird.
Even when it was a Starbucks, I would just, it's like they all want frappuccinos, so it's just like, raise your hand, who wants chocolatey chip? Okay, we're making 10.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So it's it is, it's funny. Well, speak to your events some, because I think, like you said, it's mostly other people putting them on, but how does that work? Like, if somebody's interested in, maybe they're like, I feel like I'm a good fit, I'd love to have an event there. Like, what do? They just...
Yeah, please reach out. We have our website is chahousebham, so BHAM.com, and there's a contact page, and you can scroll down on that page to get to events. So you can just fill out that little form. It's going to a different email now, which my coworker Alexis is handling for me, which I'm so grateful. I was managing events, and we had literally 7 days a week for like 8 months. We didn't have a single day off, I think, from an event. And now we've had a few days here and there, and now we don't really have events on Mondays, but anyway, we had 7 days a week for a long time, and I was planning all of it and working every day and just doing a lot. So it was a lot of coordinating. I feel like event planning itself is like a full-time job. So she's taking over all of that for me, so it's going to her now. So please don't call me or text me or Instagram me personally. But if you go to childhousebham.com, you can fill out an event request form. That's the best, easiest way to do it. But we, like I said, we kind of accept anything. I mean, we really want it to be family friendly. We really don't want it to be like divisive or confrontational. But other than that, you're welcome to do a thing there. And we really appreciate like community focused events, hands-on present events. So we have a dance class every week. We have a yoga class every week. We've had like origami making and painting and collage and journaling and meditation groups and book clubs, lots of different things. We had a wedding reception there actually, which was really sweet. We had like a private event last night for a nonprofit, Alabama Rise. So we do private and public events. We will rent the space out too after hours. We close early on Saturday and Sunday for that reason, so that we have the evenings open for private events. So if you want to host a private event there, we would love to have you. And we have lots of different price ranges, just like with the tea menu. If you're like a nonprofit or you're doing a pay what you can or free donation event, then we will try to accommodate you as best we can with that. And then if you're hosting like a birthday party and you want to pay, or you have a lot of money and you want to host some kind of corporate event, then we're going to, have a price range for that as well. But if it's during our open hours and it's under 10 people, you can just show up and have your meetup there or your event there without even booking it. If it's over 10 people, we really like to know about it just because of our space requirements. But we have lots of like random meetups happening all the time too. And sometimes there's like 4 very different things happening at the same time in the building, which I love because it's like, wow, it's really working. This is a true community center. Like, there's an Autism Spectrum Society of Birmingham that's now meeting there once a month. So like they were there this past week, and there was also a book club, and there was also a belly dance class going on all at the same time in the space. And it was just like, okay, this is so diverse. I love it. It's very different activities happening. But yeah, please reach out. We'd love to host you. And if you have an idea and you don't know how to execute it exactly, or you want help with that, I'm happy to try to help with that as well. Like me and Alexis, I think both are really good at that. And like I said, she's kind of taken over, but I'm also happy to talk with people. Like people will come in and just say like, I have this idea. And so emailing is best, or filling out the form is best to get it started. But if you want to just schedule a meeting and discuss and see if we could collaborate, I'm down to do that as well. Like we're hosting, I think it's next week, maybe. I can't remember the dates right now. Please check the online calendar because I don't know what's going on. But there's a person that's hosting like a reflection, journaling, meditation kind of activity. Workshop is the word. But I'm going to serve tea and do a tea meditation for the first hour of it. So we're collaborating on that. So we're going to like combine this event. And I've never even met this person. We've just been emailing. But I think it seems like a really good fit, and like it's going to blend well together. So I'm happy to do that as well. If you have something you think would benefit from like a tea service or a tea tasting or a tea meditation or a guided tea one-on-one, or you want me to like facilitate with you, then we can do that. So that's what I'm trying to get more into now. I'm like hiring more staff, trying to get people working behind the counter more often so I can focus on tea education and doing more tea classes and tea tastings and tea meditations and things like that. Yeah. So I want to do more of my own events because I have not been prioritizing any Cha House or tea related events because we've had so many people wanting to do events that we've been booked up 7 days a week, and there's like no room in the schedule for me. So that's what I'm trying to focus more on this year. Yeah.
Well, and I think that even when I came in, there was a lot of tea education even just there, like when you walk up. I feel like there are like boards with specials, and I like that you have kind of cards that you can kind of flip through and see different things. And then how, like, do you often get people who are like, I don't even know where to begin, or I just know like sweet tea or oven tea?
Yeah,
something.
Absolutely. And it's changing a lot. I feel like not that I'm like taking all the credit, but I do think that it is, I can definitely see a difference in like people that are coming in more and more and more. And now I see them like educating other people about tea, and it's really cute. And I'm just like, yay, we've got all these little educated tea people running around now in Alabama because it's been really interesting. Like the tea teacher I work with, we have I'm in a Tea of the Month club where we are like zooming in and drinking all the teas together with people from all over the world every month. And no one else is from the South in that group, I think. Or there might have been someone from Atlanta last year, but most of them are like from all over. And even Atlanta is a lot more, people just know a lot more about what tea is than here. And it's been really funny. Like everyone in that group is like, what? Like people don't know what tea is. And I'm just like, yeah, it's a different thing here. It's like a corn syrup out of a machine, and they call it tea.
Yeah.
Which it is. I mean, I also am not a tea snob, actually. I will drink like unsweet tea from a restaurant all the time. I'm not opposed to that at all. But, and like sweet tea is very common here, and I think that's great, but that's just not what I do. So I do more, the style that we serve in is called Gong Fu Cha. It's like traditional Chinese style. So it's a lot of loose leaf tea in a small pot, and you just do water over the leaves in a small container over and over and over again. So you're steeping it many times. So you're getting a lot out of the leaves, but it's not like a big style British pot where you have a lot of water. And the purpose of that also is to create presence and slow down and be present with the experience. So when you're steeping in a tiny container like that or doing this style of tea service, you have to watch it. You have to like be present with it. So I give you little sand timers, and sometimes the steeps are like 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So you really have to be present with it. And then you can get another steep, and you can do that up to 10 times with some of our teas. Like you could steep on it for hours or all day long for one price. Like you're buying one pot of tea and then you're drinking on it all day long.
Which I loved. Like that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like the tea that I got was not something that should be re-steeped, but whoever was working would kind of say, "Oh, are you ready for a re-steep?" You know, which is nice to encourage somebody to go ahead and stay, even though it's not another sale.
Yeah, exactly. And we really want that, and I think that is unique with us, and it's very different from a coffee shop too, in that I've told my staff, like, if a customer is in a hurry and they're really, really rushing and they seem like stressed out about it, they're not our customer. Yeah. And it's okay. And they're like, what? Like, my staff was like, wait, what? I was like, you can literally just slow down. Just slow down more. Take a deep breath. Take your time. If someone's in a hurry and they're mad that it's taking a long time, they are not our customer, and that's okay. Not everyone is our customer, and that's totally fine. Like, our customer is someone who wants to sit down and be present and stay. And it's okay. Like, we will do to-go teas, and that's fine. And we even have canned, like, yerba mate teas now, because I'm also trying to meet people where they're at. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe someone wants a to-go tea, and then they'll see the vibe of the space and see how cozy it is and come back another day when they have more time. And like, my life is insanely busy too, so I get it. You don't always have time to sit down forever, but maybe you still want to come and support. So we do have those options, but it's like, it's just very different from a coffee shop where it's like, as fast as possible, get it turned around. You know, people, they need their fix and they got to get out of here. Also, I love coffee. I'm not opposed to coffee. I'm drinking one right now.
But no, it is different. But even so, like, I came and I think I stayed for like an hour and I was working on something, but it was also really nice to have like a small cup that wasn't getting cold. You know, it was staying warm because it was just like a little bit at a time. And it does feel nice. And so it's like, yes, I was working on something, and then I stayed and actually worked longer even, because it was nice. It was a good environment.
Thank you. Oh, I wanted to say too that part of our purpose, you were talking about the education when you're there, even if I'm not trying to educate you intentionally, or you're like attending a class, that was very intentional. So part of my goal too is to educate people about tea, because like I said, I feel like here that's really lacking in our culture here, and we don't have a lot of I feel like we also just don't have a lot of ritual here in the South and I think the ritual of tea, and like, you have to get your hands in it. You have to like play with it, and you get many different little things on your tray when you come in. So if you're getting a pot of tea, you're getting a pot, and then you're getting a sharing pitcher that you're going to pour it out into so it stops steeping, and then you're going to get a little tiny cup. And if you're sharing with other people, they get to have their own cup, and you have a little tray. And people are often so I guess intrigued by that when they come in. They're like, oh, wow, this is so cute. I get all this stuff. And then sometimes people are overwhelmed, and I try to walk them through it slowly and be like, it's okay, you can handle it, I promise. And they're like, oh, you should pour it for me, I'm scared. And that's fine too. Like, I'll do that for you. But I often encourage people, we really want you to have autonomy over your experience, just like what I was saying of like creating the community center by building a piece of furniture. It's not, that extreme, but I want everyone that comes in to have some autonomy. So, and I think that's unique, but I think it's important to create the sense of community. So that was very intentional. So I have cups on the wall that you get to pick your own cup. That's because I want you to pick your own cup. I want you to have that experience and be like, oh, wow, this wasn't, like, we are serving you, and we will pour the tea for you as well, and we're going to make it for you, and we're going to help you through it, but we also want you to feel a part of it. It's not just like a passive experience. It is, you have to be part of it too and be present with us and like meet us there. And you don't have to, I guess. Like, you can get a to-go tea, and that's fine, and we're not going to force you. But that is part of the goal. Is like, we want people to feel like they're a part of it, and like, this is a collaborative experience, even if it's just they weren't there for any kind of activity. They just bought a tea and sat down. But I'm going to have an experience with them. They're going to be in community with me for a minute while we like talk about this tea together. And like they took part in it. They picked out their cup. They picked out their tea. And like you said, the menu has like our full menu has little paragraphs about each tea, so you can really read and study if you want to. And if that's overwhelming, we have a little featured board that's more like a Starbucks style, like just a hanging board, so that you, if it's okay if you have choice anxiety, that's also a valid thing. So we try to have some like specials and make it easier for people. And often people come in and say, pick for me as well, or they're like, I don't know what to get. I don't know anything about tea. Yeah. And again, with that, I'm not just going to pick for them without talking to them. I'm going to ask them a couple questions and like try not to get too intense with it or make you make a million choices, even though sometimes I do feel like I'm doing that. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just made you make 5 choices. But if they're like, pick for me, I'll say like, what do you like? What do you not like? Do you like florals? Do you like earthy flavors? Do you like fruit? And try to get something out of them so that I can pick a good thing for them. But
yeah. Well, I think it's a good, I like how you've set it up because like you said, you have the board. So it's obvious when you come in what you're supposed to do. Like you're not confused at that point. But then you kind of walked me through what tea, and then you gestured to the teas and we're like, pick your cup. And that is, it's kind of a signifier that like, oh, this is different, but it's cool. And it wasn't confusing because it was like, you're kind of entering into the part that's different after you've interacted with the staff, which I think is smart because I think sometimes, like with a lot of small businesses, a lot of what customers want is to know what's going to happen when they go. I mean, I do, so probably more than your average person, but so I think
get that. I love a schedule. I love an itinerary.
I'm always like, where am I going to park? Like I want to know that before. Which you guys do have a lot.
We do have a parking lot. Yes, let's tell everyone because people often don't know that. And we have signs, but I don't know. They're lost in the murals. They're lost in the grass, so people can't see them.
Well, especially in Avondale, that is
we have a huge parking lot. You can park in it, please. Use our lot.
So I like to know those things before. So I like that. Yes, it's an adventure, but it's like the adventure starts at like when you're actually talking to somebody.
And you're already a little comfortable.
You're not like only the people who've already been here get it, you know?
Yeah. That's really good to hear. Thank you. I feel like I'm not the greatest at customer service. Honestly, like my staff is way better at customer service than I am. And I'm so grateful because they're teaching me. But we often don't work together. Like most of our shifts are solo because we're so small. So most of the time you're just working by yourself unless it's a big event. But every time we do work together, I'm like, we're always learning from each other and it's beautiful. But yeah, I need to be better at like asking the customer their name and really talking to them sometimes because I'm very like to the point and I'm just like, okay, let's get down to it.
Well, I also think some of that is like repeat. I mean, it depends on the person. But I think sometimes the first few times people come in, they're just kind of like gelling with the experience almost.
And it can be overwhelming. I'm glad you said it wasn't, but I have some people that definitely seem overwhelmed or have said they are, but usually it's in a positive way. And I know we don't think of the word overwhelm as positive, but people come in and they're just like awestruck almost, like they're kind of slow. They slow down. They look around. They're like, they're looking up at the ceiling. They're looking all around. They're like, wow, there's so much to see in here. Like there's art everywhere. There's cushions everywhere, but it's like, and it's very colorful, but it's not overwhelming because I think like I also can get overstimulated and overwhelmed. And I've had a lot of feedback that the space and like the decorations and the vibe of the space there's a lot going on, but it's not overstimulating or overwhelming, but it's like there's so much to see. And every time you come, you can find something different. There's like a whole bookshelf of books to hang out and read while you're there and games to play and like coloring books for kids and like little activities and like cards to play with. And it's really cute and there's lots of like intentional things on it, but people don't even notice that the first time they're there. And then they're like, wow, all these teacups. And I'm like, you get to pick one, like grab it right off the wall. And they're just like, what? I can touch it. And so I think it's just beautiful to see like the sparkle in people's eyes almost when they come in and they're kind of in awe. And like I have tapestries hanging from the ceilings to like dim the lighting. But it's just kind of a unique look and I wanted it to feel cozy and like it's a big industrial building with like a big ceiling with pipes all over it. So I wanted it to feel cozy even like from above when you're looking up if you're like sitting on the couch. And then we just built out the patio like you were saying you experienced it, and I'm trying to make the outside feel like the inside now. So I'm trying to like cover it with rugs and flowers and there's plants everywhere and make it cozy out there as well for the summertime. I need to get some like Disney World spritzers or something on the fence for us for the summer.
Well, I think it's really cool what you've put together, and I do think I think there are so many parts of your story that people will resonate with, like whether they're trying to build a traditional business or a non-traditional business, or even if it's not a business at all, because so much of what you've done, like visiting other places and kind of picking things up and really studying tea and things before, and also just thinking through like what you wanted to do. I love honestly the tip of writing the staff manual when you're still thinking about it, because like I've told people that if you're writing a business plan, that's helpful because it helps you like stress test your ideas. But I think the same thing for that. And also, you don't have time to write the manual when you have to run the business.
Well, maybe not as intentionally. And I mean, parts of it, like I have like the legal parts of like anti-discriminatory and things like that I just got from the internet and then like edited to make sense for me. But the main part that was like, what is this?
Right.
And like you said, you want to understand what you're walking into. I think that is very important for the staff and also for the customers. I've been trying to figure out a way to like write on the entrance when you come in, like basically a short, like what is a third space? Because I think that people don't know. Like they're coming in and now we have a community board that's like right at the doorway when you walk in the front door with all the posters of local community events. We have a table with the zine machine and all these local zines and like business cards and things. And also Burdock Book Collective, I would like to shout out. They share space with me. So they're a separate business, but they are in the building with me and they have a whole bookstore there. It's a local book collective and you can come and buy books. They have 2 book clubs a month there as well. And then all the local art is also like separate, like you pay the artist directly, you're not paying me for it. So it's kind of weird, like you said, like people are like, wait, what? And it is kind of like an art market and then also a bookstore and then also a lounge and then also a tea house. So it is a lot to take in, and I'm trying to figure out how to like give people the expectation of what they're walking into in a better way.
Well, like you said, it's also like a little bit of discovery, so that's pretty fun too. Like you can sit in a different space and have a little bit of even a different experience.
And there's all sorts of stuff to see, and I love that as well. I was talking with my friends recently about like they were saying they hung out in a different part in their apartment, and I was like, oh yeah, I saw this like cute reel the other day of this couple that was like, we're making every corner of our tiny space romantic, and they're like sitting under the dining room table and they're like cute, and then they're like in the corner by the window and they're like, how romantic. So I was like, I kind of love that. Just that visual of like, that's what I try to do at Chaw House. I'm like sitting in all these little cozy nooks and corners in different spaces. And I'm like, what does this person see? And like, the person on their laptop is getting a totally different experience over here than like the person lounging on the floor pillow. And, but I'm trying to make it where like everyone has a good aesthetic experience and you can see interesting things from any perspective.
So
that was intentional.
Well, usually I ask people the best way for people that interact with you. So I'm guessing the best way is just to come and visit.
Yeah, please. We're an in-person experience.
And then you have a website, which we mentioned, and an Instagram, too.
Yeah, and I've had a marketing intern from UAB for the past few months, but I'm about to take over the marketing again. So hopefully we're going to have more and more tea education. Like I said, I'm trying to get more into like doing tea education things in person, but also on our Instagram. So hopefully we can offer more of that even if you're unable to be here in person. But we would love for you to come in and have some kind of community experience with us.
Awesome. We'll put links in the show notes, so if anybody's listening like in the car or while doing dishes, we'll have all that too. So
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. This was lovely.
If you're local to the Birmingham area and you want to join us for our live event, we would love to see you at Localist Lab. So these happen on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. We meet at Saturn in Avondale. I'm actually going to be speaking at the next event. I'm going to be talking about virtual assistants and also AI tools that work as assistants for you. So if you're at the point that you need more help, but you can't hire full-time help yet, I'm going to talk about my experience and the things that I set up for my virtual assistant, which is a human, by the way. I think some people think virtual assistants are AI, but they are actually people. So I'm going to talk about that. I am also going to talk about some AI tools as well, if you aren't even at the point that you can hire a virtual assistant. We also have free Ladybird tacos because they're a sponsor, and free coffee. I would love to see you there. You can get your free tickets in the show notes to this episode. The Localist is written and produced by me, Carrie Rollwagen. Our showrunner is Taylor Davis. Our outreach manager is Hannah Cragen. And we record right here at Infomedia Studios. Our producer in the room today is Aaron Duncan, and he is assisted by Emery Lambert. Thanks to Infomedia for sponsoring the podcast and making all of this possible. So until next time, whether you're buying from a local business or running one, thank you for everything you do to make our community stronger every day.